Last part. 10.9. Independent and dependent events. Shh. No. This is not grammar. Okay, we're still doing probability. Now, keep in mind, we're at 10.9. This is a long chapter, guys. This is a real long chapter. You had, Jan, you okay? Okay. You had a quiz, over half of it, and now we've been spending a whole week on the other half. So your test is going to be huge. There's a lot that you're going to need to study. That's why I did all the IXLs the first time, and why y'all still have these to do. These IXLs are due Wednesday. Do not forget. All right, independent events. Okay, 2 events in which the occurrence of one has no effect on the probability of the other. Independent events. 2 events in which the occurrence of one has no effect on the probability of the other. Blah, 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 blah.
Is it the same?
Blah, 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 blah. Example.
Is it the same vice versa?
Shh. Flipping a coin. Flipping a coin is an independent event. So, blah, 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 blah. Flipping a coin is an example of independent event. For example, again, 2 events in which the occurrence of one has no effect on the probability of the other. If I were to flip a coin, what are my choices?
Heads and tails.
Heads or tails, right? So, will that affect, whatever I get, will that affect the next time I flip the coin?
No.
No. The 2 are completely unrelated. Has no effect whatsoever. Now, if you tamper with the coin after your first flip, then yes. You know what I'm saying? If you do something to make one side, heavier or whatever. But if you take one coin, you flip it, and then you flip it again, one does not have anything to do with the other. They're completely independent of each other. Does that make sense? Yes, Taylor?
One side of the coin is actually heavier than the other.
Okay, but when you flip the first side, even if that's true, does that affect the next time you flip it? No, exactly. So that's an independent event. Okay. Dependent event. Now, if I misspell something, y'all need to let me know because it's Friday. All right, dependent events. 2 events which the occurrence of one changes the probability of the other. Dependent events. 2 events, so similar to independent events, 2 events which the occurrence of one changes the probability of the other. Where this one has no effect on the other, this one changes the other.
Fine if I abbreviate
Okay, it's your notes, dear. As long as you understand and you're writing it, I don't care. Okay. So example of this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, here's the example. If you draw a name out of a hat, who does that anymore?
No one.
Usually draw it out of a bowl or a box or something. Anyway,
Just do
draw
what
a
I
name
do.
out of a hat, then draw another one without replacing it. And we've had these problems before. At the very beginning, the principal, counting, blah, 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 blah. Okay. If I were to put all 10 of y'all's names in a hat or a box or a bowl or whatever, and I'm drawing to see, I've got 3 gift cards and I want to draw 3 random people to see who's going to get them. Okay? If I draw a name, how many choices do I have at the beginning? 10. If I draw a name and do not put it back in, how many choices do I have on the next one?
9.
There you go. Without replacing it. Because the first drawing absolutely does affect the second one because whoever I drew will not be in the second one. You see what I'm saying? But if I were to replace it, if I were to put all 10 of y'all's names in and I did not replace it, that would be an independent event. Because the first drawing would have nothing to do with the second one because you would still have 10 people in the box or the hat or whatever, right? So that would be an independent event where if I were to keep, like let's say I had 10 names and I have 3 gift cards. And let's say the first one I drew was Rochi, since she's at home watching this. And then I say, okay, well, I'm leaving her out. She's got 1 gift card. Now I'm going to draw for someone different. That's a dependent event because that first drawing does not affect it affects the second one because there's only 9 people. But if I were to put Rochi's name back in there, I could draw her a second time so she gets 2 gift cards. That would make it independent.
Why have you started calling me that?
Oh, just because I know she's watching this. All right. Does everyone have this down? Okay. Do you remember yesterday? If it said or, what does that mean you're doing? Very good. If it says or, you're going to add. But I'm adding something. If it says and, guess what you're doing?
Subtracting.
You would think multiply. Okay, so those are 2 things you're going to have to memorize. If ever it says or, we're doing pretty much similar stuff. But if it says or, you're adding.
What if it says no?
No, it's not going to do that. If it says and, you're multiplying. Yes.
Did we do 10.7? I think maybe that's.
I don't
I
remember.
don't remember. Okay. Did we skip it? The histograms?
I don't remember.
No, that's combinations.
So we did do it, yeah.
Okay, well then I need to do the notes again because.
Okay, well, there's a video.
Mhm.
You can find it. Okay, let's open up our books to page 442.
Already?
So open up your books. Yeah, actually, that math is due today.
Oh, I turned it in.
Okay,
But-
good. Then what are you worried about?
Because the notes, I didn't have my math notebook whenever I was absent.
Oh.
And then so I did them in my science notebook and I ripped them out.
So staple it into your
But I
math.
don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think they fell out or something.
I was saying you did your homework.
Yeah,
Okay, you're good.
but for the 6 weeks exam, I did redo those notes.
True. If you can't find it, I would definitely.
On number 3, I thought that said sniper, not spinner.
All right, number 2. me make sure everyone's got it. Oh, I see people still looking. Everyone there? Oh, still looking. Everyone's there. Okay, Aiden, go ahead and read the directions.
State whether the following events are independent or dependent.
Okay, so remember, independent, the one move does not affect the probability of another. Dependent, both, one affects the other. All right, so number 2. Spinning a spinner twice in a row. Any spinner. Aiden, what do you think?
Independent.
You're correct. It's independent. Because if you spin it and then spin it again, that first spin does not have any effect on the outcome of the second one. 4. Choosing 2 letters for an ID code if the same letter cannot, there's your key word, cannot be chosen twice.
Dependent.
Very good. I was just about to call on you too. Dependent. Good job. Because it can't be used twice, so it's dependent on each other. All right, 6. Choosing a class president and then choosing a class vice president. Michaela?
Independent.
Well, it is one. Can the first choice affect that second choice?
Dependent.
Well, which one?
Dependent.
Okay, she's correct. It's dependent. Because let's say I chose Michael for president. I can't also choose him as vice president. So the first choice, whatever your drawing is dependent. I mean, it changes. It can affect the second one. So it's dependent. 8. Selecting 3 members of the class to form a committee. Izzy? Dependent. Because you can't have one person doing all 3 jobs. So each move you make will affect your next choice. And number 10, selecting a marble from a hat twice with replacement between draws. Joanne? Independent, because you're replacing the marble each time you draw. Is this about this? What? Yes. All right. Next, let's see. Michael, read the directions.
For one spin of each spinner, find each of the following probabilities. Express your answer as both a fraction and a decimal rounded to the nearest thousand.
Okay, so what's important in these directions?
Fraction and decimal rounded to the nearest.
That's right. Fraction, decimal, rounded to the nearest thousandths. Yesterday, what were we rounding them to? Hundreds. Today, we're rounding it to the thousandths. So be very careful with that. So 12. It says, what's the probability of an odd number?
And.
Oh, there you go. And a consonant. Go ahead. No, I'm looking at 13. I did half of 12 and half of 13. Y'all do that all the time, and here I am doing it too. Okay, so 12 is odd number and a B, not a consonant. But I think it was with it yet said, oh, look, and. What does and mean?
Multiply.
That's right. And means we're going to multiply. All right, odd numbers. How many odd numbers? Whit?
3.
3 out of what?
3 out of 6.
There you go. 3 out of 6. Remember yesterday, desire over total. This was from yesterday. There are 3 odd numbers out of a total of 6.
We're looking at this little thingy right here.
Mm-hmm. Do you see that there's 6 total?
Yes.
And do you see there's 3 odd numbers?
Yes.
Okay, then there you go. So desire over total. How? What about the B? What would that be, Whit?
1/4.
1/4. So now you can either reduce this and then multiply, or just multiply across. It's whatever you want to do. So Whit, go ahead and multiply across for me. What do you get?
You get 3/24.
Can you reduce that
You can.
to what?
1/8.
1/8. And raise your hand if you can come up with the decimal. Gabby?
1/25.
And there's the decimal. So there's your 2 answers. So you got to remember yesterday. Does everyone understand? Any questions? Izzy, questions?
Did you get 1/4?
Okay, so are you looking at the 2 spinners? How many bees?
Oh wait, never mind. Yes, I see it now.
Okay, so well, just in case, how many bees are there?
1,
And how many total choices do you have?
4.
There you go. So desire over total. Do you get it now? Okay, good. Hey, don't sit there and be lost. Ask questions. Even if you're like, I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay, I see it now. Go ahead. Ask questions.
I'm still kind of confused on independent.
Okay, well, we'll go back because we're already past that. So we're here now. You never said anything.
I thought I would catch on after you gave more examples, but I still don't really get it.
Okay, well, you can go back over it. All right, 14. Whoops. Probability of a multiple of 3 and C. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to pick on Izzy. You're my victim. Izzy, what is, and I'm going to help you. What does and mean? Multiply when we're doing probability. Now, multiples of 3. Do you know what that means? Bingo. So, how many multiples of 3 are there in that spinner? Which is it?
2.
What are they?
3 and 6.
There you go. So there's 2 over how many total? 6. You're correct. And what about how many choices do you have for C? Out of how many?
4.
Very good. Now we can multiply across. Can we do any cancellation?
2 and 4.
Yeah. We can do cancellation right here to make it easier on us. 2 goes into 2 how many times? And 2 goes into 4 how many times? So 1 times 1 is, and 6 times 2 is. There you go. So there's your fraction. Raise your hand if you've got the decimal. Aiden?
Wait, sorry.
What?
0.83.
You're close. You want to look at it again? No, you'll see. Gabby?
Oh.
There you go.
Oh man.
And this is the thousandths place, so we're good. We don't have to round to the 8. You see now?
Where'd you get the 3?
Where'd we get the 3? Do you want me to work it out? Okay, 12 can't go into 1. So I'm adding a decimal and a 0. 12 cannot go into 10, so I'm putting a 0 on top. So I have to add another 1. Do you see that? So 12 goes into 100 8 times. 8 times 12 is what, guys?
99. That's what I knew.
I messed up on this problem so much.
So when we add another 0, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is this correct? And 8 times 12 go into 40.
3 times. And then it goes on forever.
And then it goes on forever. What do you get there? 36. And then you can just keep adding zeros. Right? Well, they said to round in there is thousands place. Here's a thousands place. I look to the right. That's less than 5, so this stays the same. Does that help? Okay. Any questions? All right, let's do another. 6. Teen. Probability of a number less than 6 and A, B, or C. Ooh. We have an and. So Gabby, what does and mean? Okay, so we're going to be multiplying. How many numbers? Now this doesn't say less than or equal to 6. It's less than 6. So how many numbers are less than 6? Over 6. So your desire over your total. Choosing A, B, or C, how many choices do you have there? 3. Over how many total? Can I do any cancellation? What? 3 and 6. How many times 3 go into 3? How many times 3 go into 6? And now we multiply across. 5 times 1 is? And 2 times 4 is 8. There's my fraction. Raise your hand when you have the decimal. Oh, wit's already there.
Say
Yeah.
0.6 and then 2.5.
Very good. And that's in the thousandths place. Taylor, I advise you to write this down real quick. Okay. Any questions about that? Remember, desire over total, where it says and between the events, so you multiply. All right, 18. Yeah, we're doing a lot of examples today. Cecilia, 18 says, what's the probability of a number less than 7 and C?
6 over 6.
So how many did you say are less than 7?
6 over 6.
Yep, your desire, there's 6 choices. Desired choices are outcome because there's 6 numbers less than 7, and we have a total of 6. So total over desire. What do I do with and?
Multiply.
And what would the probability of C?
1/4.
Or is there anything I can do for canceling?
Mm-hmm.
What?
6 and 4.
And what number are you going to use?
2.
How many times 2 go into 6?
3 times.
How many times it go into 4?
2 times.
There you go. So now we have something easier to work with. What's 3 times 1?
3.
And 6 times 2?
12.
So we had 3 over 12. That's not working.
I got 7 and 2. I got 7 and 2.
Oh, yeah.
You reduce that.
No, you reduce it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Huh.
And 1 over 4. Brain fart. Now, raise your hand if you have the decimal. Taylor?
0.25.
There you go.
That's why I like you before.
Right. Any questions? Any questions?
P means what?
What?
What does P mean?
Probability. We learned that yesterday. All right. 20. Michael, read the directions.
For 2 spins, find each of the following probabilities. Express your answer as both a fraction and a decimal rounded to the nearest thousand.
Okay. Important information, fraction, decimal, round to the nearest thousandths place. Okay, so mark that in your directions. So 20 says, what's the probability of 2 and 4? Again, we have the whole and here. So Joanne, I'm going to have you do this one.
So you multiply.
Very good. And what is your outcome for or probability of getting a 2?
1 out of 6.
1 out of 6. Very good. And a 4.
1 out of 6.
Perfect. We multiply across, and what do you get?
1 over 36.
Yeah. And raise your hand when you get the decimal.
Does it mean 2 and 4 at the same time?
2 different events. Not at the same time. Because the direction said for 2 spins. So you spin once and then spin again. Wit?
0.025.
No. Close. Last number. You should be doing this.
That was 280. I read that wrong.
What?
I read that wrong.
Aiden?
0.028.
Yes. 0.028. Good job. Any questions about that? All right, 22. Michaela, probability of doing a number greater than 3. It didn't say equal to, just greater than 3, and number less than 3. So we're doing and. What does and mean? Multiply. So how many numbers in that spinner are greater than 3?
3,
Out of how many?
6,
And how many numbers are less than 3?
2,
Out of how many?
6.
There you go. Now, can we reduce these two fractions?
Yes.
What would 3 over 6 reduce to?
1 over 3. 1 over 2.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. And what would this fraction reduce to?
1 over 3.
There you go. Now, bless you, multiply across, and what do you get?
1 over 6.
Perfect. So you know this. 1 over 6. Raise your hand if, Aiden.
1.17.
No. Gabby? Taylor?
0.17.
No. Michaela?
0.166.
Oh wait.
Close. With?
0.167.
Yes.
Yes.
We're rounding it to what place?
Thousands.
So how do you do that? How do you
You,
round it? You underline
you did something. You have to keep going because you're supposed to round to the nearest thousandths place. So then you would do this again and it would be like that. You look to the right, it's 5 or greater, so it changes to 7. There you go. Good job. So think we're good to go?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you are. All right, let's see how you do. I'm setting you free.
Yay. Just 9 to 1.
All right, you are doing page 442, 443, numbers 1 through 17 odd. No. 25, 27, 31, 33, 41, 45.
What is that?
Yeah.
Row cheat.
41, 45. No calculators.
No.
No calculators.
I still forgot the correct.
Oh, that's scary.
No, you are
Dividing.
still grounded. That's right.
Let's
You
get
are still
all
grounded.
nine.
Y'all need to exercise the brain again, maybe next week. All right, so this is due Monday. IXL due Wednesday. Your test Wednesday. All right.
Whoa. Test on.
We still
all
don't have
chapter